Hello, I'm Linda Alepin, and I have the great pleasure today of interviewing Karen Buckley. You know, somebody that I've known for quite some time, I respect a lot. And this is her acquainted video. So we're just going to start. Karen, you know, what's a story about how spiritual wisdom has touched or supported you in life and in the work that you do?
Thank you so much, Linda, and I appreciate you taking the time to do the interview with me today. You know, I actually had trouble identifying a time because I feel so enormously supported by spiritual wisdom, and have since I was young. What immediately came to mind for me is that each morning I take time to meditate or to stand outside and greet the directions or to walk in the early morning. And greeting the dawn is a way that I welcome spiritual wisdom and anchor myself here on this earth. Centered here in relationship with earth and with all of life. And to me, that's what spiritual wisdom brings. Specifically, I find that practice and other practices that I do change the way I show up with my clients. It changes the way that the presence that I bring to the programs I lead on love, to the consulting work I do, the executive coaching work that I do. I have a very busy schedule. I work with clients on retainer. And so it's a very full schedule. So these practices are key to to the resonance that I bring into a situation. The other experience that came to mind happened many, many years ago, over 30 years ago. It was in Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. And I asked the question. I was just beginning as an organization development consultant. It was actually probably more like 38 years ago or 39 years ago. And I was just beginning as a consultant, and I was on a trip that was learning about shamanism and experiencing shamanism in New Mexico. And I was in Chaco Canyon, and we were camping there. And we had the night before done some beautiful ritual. And I woke up in the dawn and asked the question, how does my work relate to the spiritual wisdom that I experience? And I was actually envisioned a tribe that had lived there before. Perhaps it was the Anasazi, I don't know. But I envisioned the tribe and how they worked together, how they collaborated, how they showed up for each other, how they developed practices and processes and systems for working out conflicts and maintaining the tribe. And I would say that would be another experience where that spiritual wisdom that transcended time and space gave me the anchor, the what I call the matrix, the foundation of understanding and the place from which my work is done.
And Karen, both of those reflect your, I think, never-ending commitment to sustainability and the earth. And, you know, as you say, that's the anchor.
Yep.
And you do a lot to respect that.
Yes, I do.
So, you know, we've got all the dialogues going on in conscious leadership. And what wisdom and experience can you offer to that dialogue, to the ongoing development, if you will, of the Conscious Leadership Guild and what it represents?
I think that's two different questions for me. One is, what can I offer to the Guild and to the members of the Guild? And I'm more than happy to offer and have a conversation with anybody that comes from my decades of experience in working with leaders and organizations of all sizes and types. I'm good at what I do, and I enjoy it very much. And I've had things not work, and I've had things work, and I'm more than happy to anyone who's in consulting, executive coaching, who's developing a program or training, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. The other side of that question to me is about what do I offer to the dialogue about conscious leadership? I offer both the experience of an appreciation for what works in being conscious as a leader, the best practices that I've employed and that I've seen my clients employ, the capacity building that happens over time, and what works that, what nourishes that, what challenges. I'm very good at asking hard questions. I'm good at seeing where the clarity is and where it isn't. And that's all part of being conscious to me. I'm a perceiver. I perceive at the core of something. The other thing that I offer to the dialogue about conscious leadership is all the unconsciousness that I and other leaders have experienced and the consequences. And I am not of the belief that we become conscious leaders and there's a fixed position there. It's a continual journey. I made my head go in a circle because it feels that way. It's a merry-go-round, you know, conscious, unconscious, conscious, unconscious, 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 conscious, unconscious. You know, it's this continual practice, a continual commitment, a continual drive to consider, first and foremost, am I being a leader? My definition of leadership is very simple. It's someone with the willingness and ability to take action on that which matters most to them. Mm-hmm. So leadership happens throughout an organization. And the more the formal leadership can recognize that, the more that amplifies that individual capacity to take action and to work together, and team capacity to work together. The other side of that is the conscious side. And the two, what I love about what we've done here is link the two. Mm-hmm. Because I have facilitated meetings for very conscious spiritual beings, for their organizations, for their spiritual communities, and they've been some of the worst dynamics I've ever seen. And I have facilitated meetings for leaders who I would not say are conscious in the way we talk about it, in being aware of their own reactions and their own mindsets and how they're constructing the world around them and creating meaning and purpose based on what their own thought patterns are. And yet they've had very efficient, very excellent working because they are who they are. And I've gone from facilitating one to facilitating the other within a week, within a couple days. And so that linking the two is really critical. There's also a lot of people who practice consciousness who don't necessarily lead. So I think that integrating the two is really critical for the world that we have before us and the kind of legacy we want to leave the generations to come.
I really like that. I like the idea of linking the two where it's conscious and leadership. Mm-hmm. Just because they are two different states in some ways. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Yeah.
So what's your learning edge? Okay. What energizes you to discover and learn and continue to grow and all those things? So what's the learning edge?
Such a great question. I'd say my learning edge at the moment is to continue learning that I'm an interconnected being rather than a separate being. I keep thinking I've got that one. I wake up to all the threads of behavior, of mind, repetitive thoughts and attitudes and judgments that really show me the ways I'm not connected. That I don't assume, I don't start from the place of connection. I might end up there, but I tend to be, and develop this very early on in life, a capacity to be detached more than a capacity to be attached in terms of really recognizing our relationship. And having both of those, again, I want to take the polarity and put them together. So to be both attached and really feel, oh, sorry, my dog is going nuts. I'm going to mute for just one sec. That to be attached and recognizing the interconnected relationship, the beautiful experience of love that is here, that we share, and that we share at all times, unless we've got everything else going on that takes us out of that. And that feeling of connection, but at the same time, not getting into it being a binding such that we're so attached that we aren't also stepping back, that we're not also having the capacity to observe and discover who you are and who I am and how that works together. Yeah. So I think that sense of being interconnected, not separate, of being intrinsically related, the sense of a regenerative, what is it to be in that lemniscate of regenerative living? What is it to create a business that's truly regenerative? I know there's a lot of simple kinds of solutions, simple sounding solutions. There's a lot of definitions. There's some beautiful work that's been done on regenerative business. And being very pragmatic, I also recognize the limits when you're in the midst of producing something, you're in the midst of keeping a business going. What does it mean to be a regenerative leader? What does it mean to be a regenerative business? What does it mean to live in a way that I truly wake each morning and recognize my intrinsic connection with all of life? And in so doing, I'm listening beyond my own thoughts. I'm literally sitting and asking, what wisdom do you have to share, Linda? What wisdom does this person or that person have to share? What wisdom do the trees have to share? What wisdom does the stunning quince outside my window have to share? Until I ask that question, assuming that we're related, until I ask that question, I don't listen. Yeah, so I think that's my learning edge. It's really energizing me to discover and learn at this point, because it's, boy, all the unconscious ways that separation has been more dominant for me than connection. And I never even recognized it. It's been invisible. It's been that invisible net of conditioning that began so early on in life. Yeah, it's part of what makes me good as a consultant.
It's part of our knowing. And I hear you saying that what you really have a consistent practice of is coming from not knowing. But knowing we're not separate. But the rest is unknown.
Yes. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Listening, perceiving, welcoming the unknown. Thank you for catching that. Thank you. Yeah, because that to me is where wisdom comes from. There are different definitions of wisdom, and wisdom in leadership is a passion of mine. It's a core passion of mine. And what wisdom looks like when it comes from the mind, or from the definitions of a wise man, a discreet and prudent man, well-versed in the affairs of the world, it's based in the experience of operating in the world in a particular way. And there's something else that's another dimension. There are 4 other dimensions that I articulate to wisdom that take us beyond what we've known, what our minds know, what our experience in life has shown us, and take us into different somatic and multidimensional experiences where the unfolding or emergent wisdom is what we learn to pay attention to. And from that place, it invigorates life, it invigorates leadership. It also introduces a bit more chaos, a bit more unknown, a bit more of the liminal space. Yeah. Which I think we know how to navigate when we agree to it, when we accept it.
Mm-hmm. What do you long for? I guess this is a focus on the future. So what's
I long for a healthy earth for generations to come. That's what I long for. I long for my new grandson to have the kind of vitality outside his window that I have, the ability to walk in the wilderness and to see the pileated woodpeckers that I saw this morning on my walk, and to breathe air that is fresh and eat food that is just simply from the ground. Yeah.
That's Karen. It is. That's Karen. So, final question. What is it about you, your life experience, your values, the curiosity you have, the character that has drawn you to be so engaged with conscious leadership? What is it about you that's drawn you here?
What's drawn me here is what's drawn me here is all the bad leadership I experienced early on, and good leadership, and the kinds of consequences that has for people's lives. And for the community and for the organization. I mean, every organization touches so many people. It touches the consumers, it touches the people that work there, it touches all of their families, it touches the community as a whole. And yeah. So I think that's what draws me all the time, is leaders make an impact. And the more conscious, the wiser, the more caring we can be, the more we can bring love into our organizations, the more we can bring love into our hearts and act from the courage of the heart. That's a program I'm leading in April. I'm really looking at what is that fire? What is that courage that comes directly from the heart? And what's our action to take? Yeah.
So thank you very much for answering these questions. Karen, I will say, when I think of the word wisdom, I think of you. So thank you for sharing some of that wisdom with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. It was a joy to speak with you today.